The folks over at Samsung have just brought out their latest set of phones at their Galaxy Unpacked event for August. So for today, we are going to be looking at Samsung's foldable strategy. They released a new Z Flip and the new Galaxy Fold, and we're going to be talking about what does this mean in the current smartphone landscape. Hey, what up? It's your boy MobbJustice back again with another video. Thank you as always to everyone who's supporting, watching us, sharing these videos. There have been a lot of cool comments that have come through, especially the last video that we did just around are you on the short form video content bandwagon? So thank you so much. Hopefully we'll be able to get more and more of that engagement going. As always, this video is brought to you by the team over at Lion Media. Head on over to check out some of the crispiest photo, video and audio content. That's www.lionmedia.com. Head on over, check it out and just see what the team can do for you. So this week the folks over at Samsung had their latest Galaxy Unpacked event, and we might be seeing a bit of a pattern emerging because usually Samsung has had two big events in a year. That's at the beginning of the year when they launched their S series of phones, and then towards the end of the year where they released the Note. This year we've seen them already bringing out an event for the S range, one for the Notebook series, and this one was specifically for their foldable devices. It was an interesting keynote, production value always on a high, but what I found interesting, I didn't watch it live, I watched the replay, is that they only greeted us at about 18 minutes. The video sort of just goes in, you know, with the product announcements, and at around 18 we see the CEO coming out and actually greeting the people, which I found, you know, quite entertaining. Just one of those quirks. Another interesting quirk is that we kind of had two music videos happening through the presentation. One, we had a famous boy band that came out. It should be BTS. They came and sang a song. At the same time, there was a musical sequence along the way. Starting out with the main announcements of the day, it was all about the foldables. That is the Z Flip 3 together with the Z Fold 3, and it's actually already the third iteration. You know, that's how much time has gone by. I remember a couple of years ago I did do a video when the S10 range came out, and that's the time when Samsung actually released the original Z Fold, and I got the opportunity to go to the launch event here in South Africa. And I remember holding the original Galaxy Fold in my hand and thinking this was the future. And the fact that Samsung has stuck to its guns with the Z Fold 2 and now they have the Z Fold 3, it's a refinement, and we can actually start seeing where it is they're trying to take the platform. In terms of the design, quite iterative, but more of a refinement because the 2 was a big jump over the first one. But with the third one, they've simply changed out the camera module. The screen on the front of the phone has been made bigger, and overall it looks like a better built design overall. One of the key standout features is that Samsung has introduced an under glass selfie camera, which means there's no longer a hole punch cutout, which has sort of become the mainstay on some of the Samsung phones. You see the little one that comes up over here, usually they're now in the center of the screen. So I think it's a good move because hopefully it means that under glass selfie cameras are going to develop even more now that the likes of Samsung have their research and development teams behind it. Perhaps the biggest standout feature is on the software side, because Samsung has its own version of Android like any other manufacturer on that side of the aisle, and with One UI 3 they've made a lot of optimizations for the Z Fold 3. They've always had had these in place for their foldable devices, but I think some of the features that they've brought out, especially now that it seems like they've introduced what looks like a dock that actually can stay on the side of a phone, reminiscent of what we see with desktop platforms such as Windows and Mac OS. Moving on to the Z Flip 3, you know, that's a device that was introduced originally last year, and I remember this was a big one because we hadn't seen much coming from flip phones. I remember the Motorola came out with a Razr, a refined Razr, where they were folding the screen with quite an interesting mechanism, and this is now Samsung's take you know, on that particular form factor. The key standout feature from that point of view is the fact that they now have a larger screen on the front of the device, and I really like the design because when it's stretched out it looks like any other device, and the fact that the hinge sort of disappears and it looks flush on the back. Included in all of this is the fact that you can now take a picture with the Samsung smartwatch, which I think is quite a cool feature. On both devices, there are two standout features that Samsung has implemented. The first one is that for the first time they've introduced water resistance in their foldable platform, right? Which means they've had to go and really redesign their hinge mechanism more than anything else, because with the original Galaxy Fold, that was a big problem. Screens breaking, at the same time wear and tear, dust getting in between. So now that they've introduced that water resistance, it's a big step forward, and we'll be waiting to see what competitors do. Tied in with that is that they've brought out S Pen support, and S Pen support for, you know, normal phones like this, you know, it makes sense. But when you are dealing with a flexible piece of glass, they've had to re-engineer the S Pen, coming out with a special S Pen and nubs that are going to be used for their foldable devices. It's really great to see that Samsung is not afraid to innovate. It's not afraid to stick to their guns when it comes to this foldable platform. And I think going forward, that's what the segment is going to need, because everything has sort of become a slab, you know, of some sort. So seeing new form factors is pretty good. And I think they sort of, along with LG, RIP to them, because they had also been another manufacturer that was here with the innovations. But more than anything else, it really does seem as if manufacturers are going back to some of the old designs, because we've got the flip phones that are now being reinvigorated along the lines of the Z Flip as well as the Razr. But if you think about the form factor of the Fold, right? Foldable phones are nothing new. If someone thinks about the Nokia Communicator phones from back in the 2000s, you know, you opened them up, they had a big screen on one end, they had a keyboard on the other, that productivity machine. It seems that's what we've come back to, except that now we are folding glass as opposed to having physical keyboards on the inside. And that gets one excited, because if you think about Nokia, for example, they had quite an interesting range back in the day. They had the communicators, the flip phones, you know, they also had, you know, the sliding phones such as the N91, as well as the N-Gage phones, which were the mobile phones that were there for games. So wait and see, you know, what other old designs are sort of revamped for this new current age. I've already mentioned LG together with Motorola, but there's also Huawei. What are they going to do next? Because they've already got the Mate X foldable device. How far are they gonna go to improve that platform? But there's another one, an unsung hero, I think, and that's a BlackBerry. I remember a couple of years ago they had a phone, one of the first that actually featured Android, and it was called the BlackBerry Priv, and it was a sliding phone, and I thought that was really quite brilliant, because you have a normal phone like this, but it can slide up in the same way that we had phones like the LG Chocolate, revealing a physical keyboard on the inside. And I think that could be an interesting form factor factor that the likes of BlackBerries and other manufacturers could take up in future. From a business point of view, the other piece to consider is the price. $1,800, that is the asking price on the Z Fold 3, and it will be interesting to see how far these prices can go before they actually start coming down, because usually we expect technology prices to come down, but in the world of smartphones, the last 2 to 3 years, it sort of has been sitting in that $1,000 range. We've already spoken about One UI 3, that is Samsung's interpretation of Android at the moment. Good optimization for their foldable devices, but one of the key features that was announced is the fact that now, for the first time, they actually have found a way that people can port their WhatsApp conversations, data and history from an iPhone, right, over to a Samsung device. So that's going to be quite interesting, and I foresee that to be a bit of a game changer. The other two announcements that came out of all of this is that firstly, there's now a new Galaxy Watch. I believe they're calling it the Galaxy Watch 4. It comes in 2 variations, but the key note for me on that end is the partnership that Samsung now has with Google. Obviously, there's always been an existing relationship because of the Android platform, but now it seems that their Tizen OS that they've used on their smartwatch is going to be now integrated together with Wear OS, and I think it's a good move. One of the biggest criticisms when it comes to Google's Wear OS is that it's janky, it's incoherent, so hopefully getting on the likes of Samsung's to help optimize the platform a little bit and actually opening up the ecosystem will be a good thing for Android wearables as a whole. And then the last announcement was the Galaxy Buds 2. Very interesting earbuds in ear, very small, compact, interesting feature set, active noise cancellation, automatic device switching. But what I found most interesting was that for the feature set that they're offering, right, they're sort of aiming squarely at Apple's AirPods, and we're talking baseline AirPods because these ones are coming in at $149, and that is the same price as the baseline AirPods or the AirPods 2. That's where we are sitting, but some of the features that they are offering are features that are only found on the AirPods Pro. So, you know, Samsung really coming in to sit in between AirPods Pro and AirPods, and I think they've come up with quite a compelling little product. In conclusion, I still maintain really great to see Samsung sticking to its guns on the foldable platform. I really am keen to get the Z Fold 3 in my own hands, you know, to daily drive it possibly. I'm really excited about what the platform could actually mean, productivity, especially media consumption, you know, watching YouTube, Netflix and the like on a big foldable screen, I think is really great. But at the same time, you know, bringing back some of those old designs and giving them that modern feel is really a good thing. It will be interesting to see what other form factors do come up. But at the same time, it's now we wait and see, both from Samsung and Apple, because Samsung still needs to bring out the Note line, and there had been predictions that the Note series will be dead, especially now that the S Pen support has been given to, you know, so many other of the phones in the range. So we wait to see what Samsung is going to do on that end. But the other thing is the fact that this particular Galaxy Unpacked sort of marks the beginning of that year-end sort of push for smartphones. And the next big announcement that we will be expecting is the new iPhones coming out in September. Whether it's going to be called the iPhone 12s or 13, we wait to see what's going to happen. But the innovation, especially with everything that the likes of Samsung are doing, it's going to be interesting to see what Apple does for us. In the same breath, Huawei, Motorola, BlackBerry, you know, the likes of LG, it's a pity that we couldn't have seen another version of the LG Wing, because I really think platforms like that could have done well. So that's been it, just some quick thoughts around the latest crop of devices coming out from South Korea's Samsung. Always good to see a company not being afraid to innovate. But at the same time, if you are Samsung and you're playing at so many different price points and in so many different segments, you do have that flexibility, and hopefully the innovation can only go up. You can let us know what you think. Are you going to get a Z Fold 3? Do you have a foldable phone? Do you care, or do you want to continue with the rectangle slabs that have become normal in life? You can let us know in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Hey, this is Baby G and you're watching the MobbJustice channel. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Live it, love it, like it. This is the MobbJustice TV.